As I share commands today in Raid Shadow Legends, I am not alone. I am joined by brand new Proud Papa Scratch AK-47. Scratch, what's up, man? Welcome to the video.
Thank you. What's up? Doing pretty good, man. Like trying to get a bit of sleep in between. You know, when I heard you saying brand new, I was like, okay, what is he gonna say there? What is he gonna say there? But yeah, a brand new Proud Papa.
That is true, man. How's dad life treating you, man? First time father. A week ago? 4 days ago?
No, it's actually been 8 days.
8 days. It flies by.
I
right?
was just flying already. It's crazy. Yeah? Crazy,
How does it feel to have an 8-day-old?
Pretty good, actually. It's a lot of fun. Like, yeah, he's keeping me up a bit here and there, but lots of fun. I'm loving it so far. Yeah.
Isn't it surreal the first time that you like drive home with your child? You're like, now there's 3 of us. Isn't it like a weird feeling?
Even now, just looking at the baby cot, man, you're like, oh my God, it's actually here. It's real, you know.
This is real. This is real.
It's happening.
There is no going back.
For me, it took a while to like really sink in, become the new norm, you know. But congratulations again, Scratch. Today we're going to talk about Nukers, my man. We're going to talk. We've identified both 5 Nukers, so a total of 10. We made sure we didn't have the other one on each other's list, who have really emerged now. It's not just about live arena, but I feel like with live arena, Scratch, we've really been able to identify who's, you know, in the league of their own, so to speak, and who's maybe not. And some of them are, and I see my I see my clanmates just get destroyed by the most disgusting baby whale, a Harima, Taurus, Baron, Necra, and Duchess on a level 64 account. Oh my God! Yeah, we'll be talking about some of those champions. But yeah, it's not just live arena that we're going to be talking about today, but it's just these Nukers who have emerged of the best here in the class of 2023. So Scratch, let's go ahead. Why don't you kick things off? Start with the champion that you personally use the most.
100%. And just before I talk about that,
I'm here to tell you right now.
So many.
We don't care. Let me tell you. We don't care.
So many things changed with a new edition of live arena as well. Like a lot of champions that weren't as powerful before, they became way more powerful now, and yeah, it's definitely quite a bit of a change. And the most used nuker that I have on my account, honestly, for live arena is gonna be no one else but the most free-to-play one called Taurus. You know, probably you've heard about the champion.
I have heard him, and I cry every time I face him. I don't have him, but boy, do I want him. Taurus the Fierce, man. He is the best nuker, I feel like, in the game. I'm assuming you agree.
Absolutely. Like in terms of just raw damage, the more buffs you give him, the more damage he's gonna do. And before we all said that Seer nukes the hardest, right? We give her 10 buffs and she's gonna do like 1 million damage. Well, Taurus does more actually, and it's just crazy how powerful he is as a champion, all around, and everything in his kit, you know, the passive, pretty much everything is insane. You know?
I don't want to stir up some controversy to start the video, bro, but do you think he needs a nerf? Do you think he needs a nerf?
I'm usually against nerfs. I kind of like the champions to get buffed and bring new counters to the counter and stuff like that. Kind of like going in a continuous circle, you know. And I feel like it's just kind of like more and more fun in the game. They are pretty powerful, Marichka and Taurus together, but on their own, I don't think that they are as powerful as a couple together, you know. So I think they are pretty fine the way they are. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you. I think that they both need a nerf.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
But I will say that a little small nerf, I feel like, would go a long way with these champions. In other words, I actually have the nerfs that I would want on both of them really quickly here. And that is, number 1 is I would just get rid of the fear. I think the fear is going a little bit too far on Taurus. It's like, dude, you're really going to start out with a fear that can't be resisted at the beginning of the term. On top of everything else, it's ridiculous. And on Marichka, I would probably, and I'm a Marichka owner, and I use her a lot, so this one, you know, I would hurt myself here, but I think maybe the block damage is a little bit too much on the passive too, you know? And I think both those champions would be still OP and ridiculously strong without those abilities, but man, they're just, to me, they're unbelievably better than almost everybody else. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the next champion here. I'll go with my most used nuker, and it's pretty surprising because it's not who I would have intuitively thought like before going into live arena, and it's actually Harima. Harima is my most used champion. She's pretty much an auto pick for me in live arena, and she's a quintessential part of my classic arena team, my defense team. She's just so good because she's so tanky. She has so much defense. She has the ignore the decrease of defense effects, right? She's a counter to like Mortu-Macaab, who should be a counter to her because he can't land the critical hits. She's got the instant activation of the Celestial Awe. She's got the provoke that cannot be blocked or resisted, so block buffs does not work, aka Duchess. Nice mitigation there. I mean, I could keep going on and on, but a lot of damage, very tanky. She fits in a go second team perfectly. She's my most used nuker, Harima.
She's my second most used together with Taras. So they're basically pretty much in the same team all the time, and the reason is because if they ban one or the other, I'm covered. I know that each one of these two nukers will be able to carry their own weight, in the fight, 100%.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Here's an interesting question, because I've seen top 10 players play two different ways with Harima, and I'll tell you my own, but I'm curious on yours. So let's pretend you go into a match with Harima and you're going against a Stone Skin Duchess or something. So everybody else is veiled, right? Do you open with the A2 just to stack up your defense, or do you burn the A1 and wait for the Stone Skin to wear off?
I would personally most probably burn the A1 instead of going with the A2 and just let it wait a bit longer. Building that small amount of defense won't really make such a huge impact on the champion's damage or survivability, and considering that the Stone Skin is on the enemy, you won't be able to do much on it. And I feel like you might just waste the skill if you start with that.
You gain 15% defense, you take away 15% defense off of Duchess, which does help. It scales like pretty nicely. However, I'm the same way as you because I'd rather try to get that instant activation of Celestial Awe, right, on the next if we kill, but you can't kill on Stone Skin. So I'm with you, but I have seen some other players just go in with the instant increased defense. Anyway, go with the next champion. Who you got next here, Scratch?
My next champion is gonna be Rotos.
That would have been mine next.
Yeah, was it?
Yes.
But I took it from you.
Bastards.
Rotos has always been kind of like in and out of the meta, but never really left out of it. He's always been present, and it feels like now as well with Live Arena, it's just even better because he's one of those champions that even if he gets locked by a Warlord or a Yumeko, the extra attempts from the A1, if you stack a lot of HP on him, he's a good counter against Marichka, Taras, but it takes a bit of work to get it done. But it's just so freaking powerful against the current meta, and it feels like he's always like that. Easy to recover, a very solid threat on most of the teams because he deals good damage without having increased attack as well. If you have a decent build on him, and so easy to recover if he gets locked. And plus, if you pair him with the Sifi, if you're lucky enough to have both of the champions, the
cleanse,
the constant removal of debuffs is great. Yeah,
totally agree. Absolutely love Rotos. I did a Rotos guide on the Champions Guide channel a couple days ago, guys. If you want to see how I have him built, a lot of HP to Scratch's point as well on that build, and really love Rotos. So totally agree there. I'm gonna go with my next most used champion here, and that is actually Turvold. Scratch, Turvold, man. This dude is a beast. Goes beautifully in the meta again because that damage juggernaut just scales so beautifully with more buffs, and it is a buff go second meta right now, and this dude can just kill pretty much anybody with that juggernaut ability, and it's nice because if you kill them, it resets that skill, right? The other nice thing about Turvold is you don't have to make sure that you always have him with like a Duchess or something like that because he brings his own increased attack and his own self buffs. You can build him with 70% crit rate and just really try to stack up as much crit damage as possible because of that A2 ability. So Turvold is a champion that I was so sick of him killing me that I finally stacked on some really good gear on him, and I run my own Turvold now.
Yeah, it's just so powerful, man, because you don't have AoE attacks against the couple Marichka, Taras, and on top of it, if you're fighting Harimas, for example, Harima's passive doesn't counter him because with his skill he doesn't ignore defense. He just brings tons of raw damage, and you do have a Savage set on him, which does get a bit countered by Harima's passive, but his actual damage from the skill doesn't. And that's absolutely insane because he can drop so much damage,
He is a monster. Okay, if you have him sit in your vault or whatever, or you don't use him anymore, you used to in Clan Boss or whatever, try him out in Arena. He's insane. Who you got next, Scratch?
I'm gonna go with Georgid as the next champion.
Okay.
He's definitely at the very top too, and it feels like a lot of people have issues with him, especially when you're bringing in two strong nukers. They don't know who to ban. Like, oh my god, should I ban Rotos? Should I ban Georgid? What am I doing now? Because they're so freaking powerful, both of them. Georgid just enabling you to ignore a stone skin on somebody and then gaining the extra turn, moving over to the AoE attack is a massive win. The only thing with him is kind of like a coin flip, like you don't know what you're getting. Is his passive gonna proc? Are you actually gonna kill that champion and wreck the entire team? Or his passive is gonna bail on you and you're gonna
yes.
be like, damn, I just wasted that skill. Now I gotta waste a couple of more turns as well,
I'm with you there. Like, I wanted this champion so bad, and he is amazing. I want to be very clear there. But that RNG factor of crack any shell, man, that makes me use Turvold over Nutcracker. On my not that I never use him, I do, but I don't know. I like someone that's 100% dependable, man. But anyway, he's a beast of a champion. I love that A2. The turn meter that cannot be resisted is beautiful as well. And I always am scared to go against him. So good choice there. Good choice. All right, I'm gonna go with, geez, I think I have to go with Leo, right? I mean, Leo is probably, I want to say he's the nuker that I go against the most. Most people running him. Well, there's a few that's probably in the conversation, but man, Leo is just so strong, dude. I mean, he's got the unkillable, we know. He's got that awesome roar, which does so much damage. He can't be CC'd because of the A2. And his A1 smacks as well. It's a 2-time hitter, so it counters Rotos as well. I think that being void affinity, you don't have to worry about, anti-affinity matchups. And just being like a big, beefy nuker who can do some serious damage. I see a lot of people running Leo. And again, having that unkillable as a mitigation, so we can't just get one shot unless it's somebody who ignores unkillable, like Rotos, is really, really helpful.
100%. Like, Leo is very common in Arena at the moment. Like, so many people using him because he's just great all around,
He really is. These are the best of the best guys. Who you got next, Scratch?
I've got no one else but Mr. Candraphon. So
Candyman!
Candyman, the Candyman. His A1 hits so freaking hard. Like,
it does,
you are able to completely obliterate an enemy with that skill. And we are in the era of lockouts, right? A lot of people are using lockout champions to lock you. And even if you get locked with a Candy, for example, you're still going to be able to do a lot of cleanup with that A1, man. Just the damage that he brings from there, the veil from the passive, the increased attack, the crit damage. And then, of course, the AoE attack. You kill somebody, gain that extra turn, and do more cleanup. It's just so freaking powerful,
Absolutely, totally agree. That A1 is ridiculous, man. Like, I feel like he just comes in, even against a Duchess or like a negative affinity matchup, he's still smacking. It's like, what the heck, man? But I totally agree. He is arguably the best attack-based go second nuker out there in the game because of that veil. He's just difficult to target and kill, So totally agree with you there. I'm going to go with, we only have 3 left here, Scratch, already. We're moving today, man. We're moving. You know what?
You know it.
Let's not move out of Demon Spawn. I'm just going to go with Inithwe Bloodtwin. Now, Inithwe is a dude that for years I gave crap to, as in like, yeah, kind of an underwhelming nuker. They did buff his multipliers, albeit on the A3, which is really still not that hard hitting.
If this is my last stand. You two are the worst part of my job.
But he's got a triple hitter on No Mercy. And the thing about this dude is, enemies killed by this champion cannot be revived. Also, I'm not sure if you knew this, Scratch, but if you have him awakened and you go with Soul Reaper, because nobody's dying from his skills, they're just, because of his passive, the way it reads, enemies killed by this champion cannot be revived. It actually applies to the Soul Reaper too, which doesn't,
nice,
it doesn't normally happen because it's usually enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived, and the Soul Reaper is not the skill, so it doesn't work with most champions. And Inithwe it does. Anyway, I use Inithwe here and there, and he's not like my go-to, but if I'm going against a bunch of revivers, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a Nightmare or Marichka or something like that. I feel like he does have a pretty nice spot in the meta right now, finally. Anything to add on Inithwe? Do you agree with Inithwe?
Yeah. I definitely think that as well. I've actually encountered quite a few Inithwes against my team, and the A2, the triple hitter skill is actually pretty solid. And yeah, I actually almost lost a couple of times against it because of the block revive, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty nasty, yeah.
Yeah,
And it can take down Rotos, it can take down pretty much most of the champions with the multi-hit, so he's great. Yeah.
He's a dude that unless you take him seriously, he can ruin your day. He can ruin your battle. You know, you can like, dude, I should have won, but like I didn't realize, you know. So he takes down your nuker, you're screwed, you know. Who you got next, man?
Well, it's time to get Rousey, baby.
Okay.
Is that too much?
Ronda Rousey, right? Free champion, guys. We pretty much everybody has her. You can still get her. She is very powerful, and it's not mainly only because of the raw damage that she brings to the table, but she's one of those champions that with the A2, right, attacks one enemy 3 times, and you're locking the skills, the passives. Even if the enemy has polymorph, right, as a blessing on the champion that you're attacking, and Ronda gets shipped, her debuffs will still land on the target, keeping that skill and keeping that passive lock because of this. And then of course it's the in your corner passive, bringing in a bit of extra damage every now and then, which can come in hand pretty much all the time when it procs, you know. So generally I feel like it brings quite a bit of value to the team, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's so cool that Ronda and UDK, 2 of the last free champion chase or whatever champions, the free champions they gave us in the game, are 2 of the more meta champions in the entire game in Arena, right? And outside Arena. Like a lot of people I would say Ronda and UDK have to be 2 of the most used champions, or if not the 2 most used, not just because they were free, because they're actually really good. And I agree with you 100% on Ronda. She was going to be one of my last choices here as well. Just a beast in the arena. I never feel intimidated when I go against her, but I never feel good either, because I know in one move she could wreck my team.
Yeah, definitely. That A2 is dangerous, yeah.
We only have one more spot here, Scratch, already, dude. This is a pretty short collab. By the way, we're going to do a collab on Scratch's channel. We're going to talk about champions that we both got wrong. So that's going to be a fun one. It's between 2 champions for me, Scratch. I guess I'm going to give an honorable mention here, you know. And that's Mortu-Macaab, right? Honorable mention. But the reason I wouldn't include him on the list is because, especially with arena defense, classic arena defense, and live arena, I feel like there's a lot of ways to get around Mortu-Macaab, right? Like, you could just not attack him, you know, like being a good one. Harima, again, as I mentioned, he can't land a critical hit against her because he's demon spawn. So, I mean, you don't have to worry about that on the AoE Celestial Awe, you know, being a threat. And, you know, I mean, he's still used. I think he's great. I think if your opponent goes with like a Mighty Uko or a Kaimar, you know, someone who has AoEs they can't avoid, he's a great sub-in option. But to me, this is weird to say because I know a lot of people probably use him, but I don't think he's a good defensive champion to go with, you know? Like, I think he's so easy to work around and almost exploit. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, about Mortu in live arena, yeah. If I would make a tier list right now, just like top 50 champions for live arena, he will be at the bottom of it. And the main reason is because in classic arena, right, your champions will use their skills regardless. Like, you don't have control on what skills to use. If you go at the presets and lock specific skills, you're kind of like crippling your team. You're blocking either the revive, you're blocking a skill that's very essential later on to the team, so you cannot do it. So the champions are forced to use particular skills. When we are in live arena, you have full control on just spamming the A1, for example, and avoiding hitting Mortu. And you're going to do that over and over and over again. And Mortu is just going to be a space filler in there, basically. Yeah. He's not going to do nothing, you know? So, yeah, I definitely think that he's super easy to counter in live arena.
And I have to be honest, I'm kind of glad. I have him fully empowered and everything, so I guess I can talk, but I'm sick of Mortu, so I'm glad that he's not like as oppressive as he used to be. But in the right situation, I want to be clear here, in the right situation, he can be an absolute monster, you know? Baron is my real choice. I think that Baron with Sky Piercer is still... I mean, it's an ability that can potentially ignore 100% defense on an AoE, right? You get a 50% plus Helm Smasher plus Savage / Lethal and Shield and block damage. I guess I would put him like towards the bottom of the champions that we've mentioned, only because there's so much mitigation for, you know, AoE attacks right now out there in the game. I feel like we've never lived in the 4.5 years I've been playing. We've never seen this defensive of a meta. So he is hamstrung a little bit by that, but still, Sky Piercer is an ability that always has to be acknowledged, always has to be dealt with. And I'll tell you what, both the A3, the Righteous Charge, with a lot of buffs on him, it can one-shot a lot of champions with raw damage, similar to what we talked about Turvold, right? And then Trample can be a threat too. I mean, if someone's low on HP, you can wipe the entire team. So I think he deserves to be on the list. Yeah, Baron.
100%. The only thing with him is a bit harder to keep alive than most of the champions, and he's not bringing his own buffs like a Turvold, for example. His increased attack, his increased crit rate, and you kind of like need to bring some champions to keep him alive. Like that knack rate is a necessity in a team with Baron, and if not accurate, you need like a fast Duchess or something to keep him alive, because it's so much easier to wipe him off than it is in Classic Arena, you know.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, how you doing in Live Arena right now?
Yeah, doing pretty good. I like it so far. There are a few things that I would kind of like adjust, the schedule and a few other things that are kind of lacking at the moment. But other than that, I find it pretty interesting. I like it so far, you know. And yeah, I didn't have a chance to go all the way crazy, so I've done probably like, I don't know, 70 or 80 fights, something like that, but so far I'm having fun, you know?
Yeah, your boy's a little hooked to it. I'm at 205 right now, but I've realized one big thing about Live Arena, and this is probably worth mentioning for the viewers too, is that, dude, I was telling you this off air, it doesn't make much sense to play Live Arena all day after your tokens wear. Like, I stopped paying gems to refresh my tokens because you end up just treading water and ruining your win percentage. Not that it really matters that much, but, you know, because if you wait a day, like you allow time for the biggest whales, like even though I'm a whale, I still go against occasionally some top 10 players who are running 2 Tauruses and 2 Marichkas, and I'm like, okay, good game, man. And a 450 speed Yumeko, you know? I'm like, all right, whatever, dude, I can't do anything. And I'm sure everybody feels that way. Everybody except for that one guy at the top, right, must feel that way to some extent. But waiting a day, things will get easier because you'll give more times to let things kind of flesh out. Final question for you, Scratch. Final question before we let you go is... Yeah. If you had to give an award for best epic nuker, what would you go with? Ooh. Who would you go with? Because we didn't mention any epics.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to be in between a top 3 of them, honestly, and it's pretty hard to actually decide.
Okay.
It's Skullcrown, Gambo, Magnar. You know, it rotates around that. I feel like it depends what other champions I will have in my team, what team I would fight. But I feel like these 3 will be the top 3 picks for me out of all the epics to use as nukers. Yeah.
Okay, I would go with. I mean, AOE nukers epics. I would definitely go Genbo as well, or Magnar, I guess, to me. But I would actually go, if I just had to choose one, like meta, I would go Gala still. You know. I think she's great with the anti-Rotos and stuff target, like that. Yeah, single target. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Go ahead and check out Scratch's YouTube channel, Scratch AK47. Go ahead and give my man a subscription. He's a new dad. I mean, give him your present. Give him your newly dad present. So check out his channel. Check out our collab there. It will be in the show notes below. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, guys.